the process of E, I, O, U is best practiced when you're not just giving sounds that go out, but taking the time, this is particularly good for you, to breathe in at the end of each sound. So let's do it together with the activation of first the letting go of the sound and then the breathing into that center. So you're practicing receiving and not just giving energy out. We'll do it together.
Okay.
What difference does it make when you're not just making sounds and pushing energies out, yet also receiving through inhalation, inspiration after each sound? What difference does that make?
Well, it reminds me of the analogy of like filling your own cup before you
Emptying your own cup before you can fill it.
Yeah, emptying it, but also filling. Make sure I fill it.
Yes.
Because it's like, don't always give your energy away, but make sure that it sort of centers me a little bit. So, okay, let's recalibrate and then go out again. Yeah.
I practice that every day. And for many, many months, when I first developed this exercise a year or two ago while I was here with the waterfall, I just practiced sound as though I was inhabiting the sound, embodying the sound. But now I have a different thought about it. My thought about it is as in with the Course of Miracles, love brings up everything unlike love, everything unlike itself. So instead of just making the sound, I'm releasing everything unlike being in my heart center. And then I breathe in to fully embody being in my heart center. I release everything unlike being able to speak my truth with ease. And then I receive, filling that area. So that practice of filling the cup is really, really powerful. The same thing with the I am presence up and down the spine, and then filling that energetically. It's very invigorating. It's very vitalizing, isn't it? And clarifying, and calming, and toning. Oh, filling the belly, and then filling from the roots up. Yeah, frankly, this is my favorite activity these days, and I don't do it a lot, yet I do it throughout the day, and especially when I'm in the waterfall and right afterwards. I'm, very uh, transformed through it, and you are too. You feel the difference, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. When I'm like before and after, I feel the difference, and I think it matters when I do it too. I think I need to make sure to do it at the beginning of the day, like as soon as I wake up, so I'm not already thinking about, what I need to clean up, what do I need to do for the day.
It's a great thing to do at the very beginning and the end of the day, which will put you into that zone. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we talked about the imperfections and rejoicing in them or accepting them, but also about
and I love what you said about the Japanese art. If you have a vase that breaks, you paint with gold paint into the broken line, and like Leonard Cohen said in his famous poem song, "Crack is what the lets more light in." So this, by turning something, when I had my emergency spinal surgery in 2016, I reached a place where I realized I just choose to upgrade. Whenever anything breaks down, my body, my finances, a relationship, anything, I choose to upgrade. And that practice turns imperfection into something even better. So what? We're not going to live in these bodies forever. And so seeing your body, let's have a conversation between you and your body. Body, up to now, I've been focusing on what's wrong, what's wrong with me, what specialist can help me, what therapist, what healer, and I've been going to endless therapists, not trusting my own authority, I've gone to other authorities. As I trust my own authority and my own wisdom from within, I see myself as fill in the blank.
That is so true, actually. I want to mention that actually about I've been looking at the weaknesses and the negative parts and the discomfort as opposed to what's right or what's
It's a
working
habit.
out.
It's
a
an
habit,
addiction.
yeah.
It's just a fucking habit. It doesn't mean anything.
Oh my God, so bad. Well, it's good to know that it can be broken, just like smoking, just like drinking. It's a bad habit. You know.
And the way you break it is not by focusing on it, it's by practicing a good habit, like this one, the sound, I, I, O, U. Simple. Boom, 5 vowels, 5 intonations, 5 intentions, I do it 5 times in the waterfall. I do it for sequences of 5 rounds of 5. And that to me, I like it. And that's about as much as I can stand before I feel a little cold. And let's go and do my somersaults now and do another meditation. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the past, I went to specialists, I'm talking as Charlotte, to see what they could find that's wrong with me. And I found all kinds of things that were possibly wrong with me. But now I choose to see what's right with me. And as I choose to see what's right with me, my whole perspective shifts. I start to have more evidence of what's right with me, what's good with me, and I start writing plays and writing poems and doing songs and making paintings and creating outfits and modeling, and I'm doing all the things I love because this is what makes me feel good, makes me feel God. So let me hear your version of that. That's my setting it up for you. Let me hear your truth.
So dear body, I've been looking endlessly, or I had been looking endlessly for all the imperfections and all the bad things and discomforts and trying to fix them straight away and being anxious to fix these imperfections straight away. And having that sense of not wanting to have them. But also I've looked upon healers and specialists for that love, for that attention. Me. I really want that protection and safety. But I choose now to look at what's right with me, what's working out, what feels good, and rejoicing in the positive parts of me and my strengths and my abilities. And then where the attention goes, the energy flows, so I can, exacerbate that and increase that more and more and prove to myself that I'm healthy, that I'm well, that I'm able to do many things.
And what does your body say with the voice of wisdom in gratitude and thankfulness that you've just shared that? Thank you, Charlotte, for sharing that with me. I heard you say what? What did the body hear you say?
Well, my body says, thank you, Charlotte, but I don't believe you. I think you're bullshit. I strongly believe something's wrong and I need to fix it.
But that's not the body. The body doesn't have those thoughts. That's your critical mind. That's your critic that's speaking. As though it were the body. That's not really your body. If your body had a voice of wisdom, which it does have, in gratitude for acknowledging what is good rather than what's wrong, the body would say something like, thank you. It's about time that you spoke of me in a way that's uplifting and nourishing and empowering and inspiring, because I only want you to feel good. I'm not one to criticize. I'm just your body. It's your critical mind that now it's time that you have a renewed relationship with, and that's the one to talk to. To my critical mind, the one that's criticizing, instead of you tearing things up and making things wrong, I give you a new job title. I give you the job title of clear discerner of wise choices. Therefore, you use the same discriminating energy instead of tearing something apart to just make better choices. I use the same energy to build myself up rather than tear myself down. You see, it's the same exact energy. I choose a renewed partnership with you, my critical mind. Now I call you my discriminatory mind. You make better
I think we
choices
talked
for
about
me.
that, yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it many times. But let me hear your version of that. Let me hear your version of that.
I like it. I like it because it thank you for this lovely, nurturing mind, I realized the critical mind can have a new job title. Using the same energy, I can be more discriminatory, what is right and wrong, and make better choices, wiser choices.
Yeah. And then the mind, the discriminatory mind, in gratitude would say, almost like, God, it's about time. I don't like feeling like I'm pushing your energy down by giving negative thoughts and maybe something's wrong. I'm so tired of doing that. It's been an addiction. It's been a habit. It's not who I truly am. I'm mimicking the voice of your mom and others who, well-meaning, have been critical towards you. You've internalized your mother's voice. That's not who I truly am. I am here for you to make the best choices. And I am here to have you feel inspired, nurtured, empowered. From now on, here's the relationship that we choose to have. One hand is your mind, one hand is your soul. Between your mind, pick up one hand, and the other hand is your soul. What new relationship are we ready to have with each other? Which hand is which? Which
So
hand is
mind and soul.
Okay. So which one would talk first in gratitude
So
about
where's
this
the
new
body
relationship?
though? Where does the body come in?
Okay, let's do mind and body. Forget about soul for now.
Oh,
Mind
okay,
on one
mind and
hand
body.
and body
Oh,
on
okay,
the
gotcha.
other hand.
Mind and body.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
The
feel
new
like
conversation. I want to see the new conversation where these two, instead of being at war with each other, are hand to hand, are embracing a renewed partnership and connection with Charlotte. Let's see
can
that
I just
conversation. Yeah.
can I just clarify something? Because I feel like the body is like this objective thing, and then you've got the critical mind and the positive, like they're sort of there. So it's like two birds on either shoulder, right? Like speaking into the body, influencing how it feels. Would you say that? Or
You could say that. It's either two birds or two minds, two different mindsets that are there in on the one hand ripping things up. Remember the story about the two wolves?
I think I do, yeah. Oh yeah. I do.
Which one, the little boy says to his grandpa, wins the battle? There's a battle in between the wolf that wants to tear everything up, another one that wants to make puppy piles everywhere and just hug
Yeah.
everything. Well, how do you know which one is winning the war? The one that's wanting to rip things up or the one that wants to make love all the time? It depends, grandson, on the one that you feed. So the one you feed energy
Oh yeah.
to is the one that's
Yeah.
going to take over. So it's not about one on one shoulder or one on the other shoulder. You can be of one mind. You don't have to have a separate mind that's critical and destructive and inspirational, nurturing, and empowering. You can put them together as one. That's what I'm suggesting. That
Oh,
your
okay.
two minds come together as one. You'll be more powerful that way. When you're really one, you get things done like you've never got them done. So if you put your critical mind, which now you call the discriminative mind, together with the uplifting, nurturing, and empowering mind, what do you get when you put these hands together? What's the combination become?
It's like a discerning, like they're sort of intelligent and more, I guess, objective, or it's like a
Good.
balance.
So there's a balance and there's a harmony and there's a prayerful position, and we're
Mm,
together. Together we achieve more rather than being separate. We're
mm,
together. We combine, synergize our various ways of being able to perceive and express through Charlotte's body, and we're much better off for it. And so is Charlotte. She's no longer plaguing herself with feeling there's something wrong with me. We're here to support you all the way. And so the new pact,
mm,
it's like a new contract between
mm,
you, your critical mind, your discrimination mind, and your body. What's the new contract if you were to make one? Between what part and what part? Just whatever comes. Just speak
mm.
and let's see what comes.
So we have the mind and the body here. So the mind is here to serve the body and give it guidance and love, but also discernment of wise choices. And the body, in turn, thanks it for that guidance. It gives it safety and protection, but discernment, so they can live in harmony.
Beautiful. You see this? So, body, I give you safety and protection and harmony. as a result of you being more discriminating and helping me make better choices, then I don't feel like there's something wrong with me, and I can be
Mm.
uplifting. I can write songs, I can sing, I can skip and dance and be joyful. And it's about us moving together rather than in some ways colliding into each other. We've done that. We've done that for so
Mm.
many decades. We're tired of it. We're ready
Yeah.
for this new job title, this new assignment, this being lifted to a higher level. You see, it's really like making a new contract. It is that between
Mm.
any two people, and yet it's two sides of yourself that now are coming
Uh-huh.
together. So the body's voice of wisdom would be at this
Mm.
stage.
Um, I feel like I want to be able to fully express myself as my body and not be shunned upon and just be completely accepted for how I am.
I accept myself completely for who I am, whether or not people accept me at all. It doesn't matter whether people give
Mm.
me validation, acknowledgement, and approval, which
I
I've been dependent on up to now. It doesn't matter.
mm,
I don't have to be liked. I like myself. I approve of myself.
mm,
Therefore, what is true for me is good for me to express. And I don't rely on others to kowtow and push me around because I want to have their attention and affection. That's an old wounded child in me
mm,
that no longer is operative. You can play now, little wounded child, and you don't have to be wounded anymore. Come, let's play while we feel
mm,
safe and we create some of the most uplifting conversations and connections inwardly and with other parts of Charlotte. If you move to the heart now, what would the heart say as a voice of wisdom?
I can just relate something to that actually. Just with me having to train that colleague, remember?
Oh yeah, the
Tom.
one that's having
And
some challenge. Yeah.
yeah, some challenge. And I thought, oh well, usually when I teach, all my students love me, but having to teach someone who's really you know, challenges the authority has been challenging. Like, I don't need to be liked by him. I have to really work on that, because it's like I'd be next to someone who doesn't really have much regard. So yeah, it's a good lesson. Um, so
What's the gift there? What's the gift? What's the lesson? What's the gift? What's the teaching for you that is a gift to you about this person being difficult? What's the real gift underneath that?
well, to be honest, whenever I've had someone challenging, it's like a really good, like it's like a little project I have. I feel like eventually things come that there's an agreement. Like he's pointing to things that I am not aware of, and I'm like, oh, it's like, how can I learn from that and be a better person and step away from the emotional side? I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. What can I learn from this person? Maybe disregard the way it's delivered and just learn from the knowledge behind that.
And what are
But
you
also,
learning from this person?
a whole new way of looking at my job and um, the way that he interrelates with the people that we enroll. His knowledge of the product, and I'm like, wow, it's like really, and he's really honest and genuine. I'm like, he actually welcomes me to be honest. I'm like, I was scared at first to really tell him how I felt. I'm like, you know what? I had to tell him in the nicest possible way to back off. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're stressing me out with all these changes and everything. And he's like, he actually said, I appreciate your honesty. I'm like, oh my God, wow, I thought you'd hate me for it. So I'm like, wow, I can't really hurt his feelings. I need to like actually risk it, risk being vulnerable, risk being a bit honest, like can't hurt
A
anyone.
bit hard sometimes. Sometimes hard love is a way to go. Like sometimes you wanted
Yeah.
to say something to him, but you held back because you didn't want to hurt his feelings. But now you know you can say it in a way that's honest, that
Mm,
feels good and true. You can tell because your energy gets stronger when you speak from that place. You don't feel weaker or you don't feel uncertain. Feel, ooh, you can
mm,
see his reaction too. He thanked you for it.
mm.
So what might you
Yeah.
share with him that you haven't shared with him that would be honest, that would also help him reach the next level in training him that you haven't shared up to now?
Mm, mm. At first, I don't want to offend him, but um, mm, I think my manner as to like I think I'm much better now as to instead of dogmatically telling him what to do, it's like this is what I suggest, this is what I've been doing. What do you think? Having a conversation about it, and then we can invite our points of view, and it's a lot more fruitful, which I really like. Instead of me acting like his boss, I know he doesn't react too well if I'm telling him from an upper level position. So come down to his level.
Let's look at the different points of view that are being presented here, and together come up with some solutions. So you're doing it more as a team player with him. I remember when I first moved here from America, I was reading a book about the difference between Australians and Americans. And one of the differences here is that if you turn to an Australian, whether you're an American or an Australian, and say, hey, I really need some help with something, an Australian's more likely to help you. I think it's not about American or Australian. I think it's human nature. If you say you need some help, people will come to your aid rather than, hey, teach me this. Well, you're not really picking it up very well. Come on, I want to learn. Well, you got to learn, first the I and you and he and she and we before you make a sentence. And oh, come on, well, let's do it together. You need some help with this. Let's do it. So it's when people are asking for help, it's a very different feeling of kindness that opens the way to sharing more than I'm your teacher, you better listen. I'm your superior. If you don't listen, you're going to get demoted. Everybody gets scared and closes up. You can't learn under that, right?
Yeah, true.
Right. Okay, and now the higher mind. What would your higher mind say if you had a voice of wisdom about this whole conversation we're having today? We're just winging it, There's no plan about where to go or what to focus. We've taken your challenge of what you shared in the letter. We started off with a practice or two that's great to center the body, and now we're talking about different relations that this affects in terms of your work and your relating, and different ways for you to move forward in a good way, because you're perfectly imperfect and you can paint that gold in the crack and it looks even better for it. So what's your voice of wisdom from your higher self now about this whole conversation? What would your higher self say in acknowledgement?
Well, that I often over exaggerate and catastrophize that situations and people in my head, when in reality it's not that bad. If I look at the evidence of, when I go to doctors, it's like, oh, I'm actually okay. Or if I speak to someone and it's much better face to face, on a virtual screen or typing, it gets all misinterpreted. But when I actually get there, it's like, oh man, it's not actually that bad. It's never as bad in real life in the present than back in the past, forward thinking about the future. It's always a lot worse. So I can relax in the thing. It's like, I just go with the flow. All I need to do is just rock up, show up. And then I just to trust that I can manage how to deal with the situation when it's presented in front of me. And up to that point, I can just not worry about it.
Well, you don't have to worry about it from that point either. I choose not to worry.
At all, anytime.
Watch your words. I release the addiction, the habit about entering worry as a default program. It's a default program, and it's giving you some secondary gains. There's been some secondary gains about going into worry because you get some kind of attention and you feel sorry for yourself, and people give you, feeling of poor you. Let me give you, something to help you feel better, and that's never going to help you. It's just going to keep you in the same condition. So now you're climbing out of that. It's like the caterpillar in creating the chrysalis in that kind of molten state where it's no longer of any particular form. And the chicken, and coming out of the egg, it doesn't just make a nice clean slice. It fights for life to get out.
So it doesn't worry about it. It just well, what do you mean by that analogy? Sorry, with the chicken and the egg.
I didn't say the egg. The chicken, which came first, the chicken or the chicken came to come out of the egg.
Oh yeah,
has to fight its way out. It's not like it just appears. And the same thing with the butterfly. It doesn't just appear as a butterfly. It has to eat the chrysalis and tear it up to climb out. So I'm suggesting you do the same in your relationship to worry. I know I dismiss you, pattern of worry. You don't serve me anymore. You've been an old habit. You give me some secondary gain, feeling sorry for myself, getting some attention as a victim. That doesn't serve me at all. I choose a new relationship with you. relationship with worry. Instead of calling you worry, I might call you healthy caution. Healthy caution.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Reflecting before making a decision. Waiting till the
Mm-hmm.
energy feels right. Knowing that
Yeah.
I trust my emotions, my clarity of mind when I put myself in this state from practicing ye, I, o, u. I am
Mm.
of good mind. I am of clear mind. And my decisions come from a place because I feel uplifted that are for the best for me. I no longer entertain you,
Mm.
worry. I choose to call you,
Mm.
what would you call it? I
It's
suggested it, cautious pause or a chance to be
yeah,
reflective.
definitely. I think it's like a little red flag. It's like, oh, there's a really red flag, and if I can just ascertain exactly what it is that I'm worried about, that's the first step. And then second is what concrete proactive actions can I take to minimize that or to avoid that? And if I can't avoid it, release control and just let it go. So
I
yeah.
would take it further. I would have
Mm.
the image. I would love to know the name of that Japanese art form. I turn
Mm.
the crack into a vein of gold. I choose
Mm.
to upgrade it so it's beautiful. Instead of me feeling there's something wrong, something missing, I don't just try to release it or let go of it. Instead, I don't even focus on letting go of it. I create something beautiful, powerful,
Mm.
inspiring. And then my attention's on that. I don't even go back to the old thoughts about worry.
Mm.
So how does this apply to you? I'm giving you
You know
lots of
what?
suggestions.
It does actually because you know I had that brain operation about like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
My friend and I chose to make a film out of it, my experience, and it was a beautiful. There was like an animation that her friend did, and I did like a little dance yoga thing, and it was beautiful. And I had this vision yesterday when I was dancing in this workshop of actually having this like fairy creature in the forest and actually celebrating or like rejoicing in, I guess, the pain, like thinking about the foot and how I can create a dance out of that, like a story. And it's like I'm actually putting attention on it and making it into an art, you know. Um, it's
That's
one way.
beautiful. And it's so close to who you are, that
Yeah.
beingness of you that is artistic, that is expressive, that loves to share your wisdom, your warmth, your movement. You feel at home with yourself when you're doing that. I do too. And possibly why we have such good rapport. For me, when I'm in my body and expressing
Mm.
myself through the body, I'm more at home with my life.
Mm, exactly. I do sense that as well. And when I'm, teaching, I kind of use my body and express, and that sense of space and expansion that I feel is, yeah, I feel home in that. And actually, I did message my friend last night as well when I had that vision. I'm like, this is my vision. What do you think? Let's make a dance film. And she was up for it. I'm like, oh, fantastic. I'm in touch with my a photographer from years ago, and we want to create like this gothic steampunk cool photo shoot. I'm like, yes, cool. So we're pitching ideas. So
I
it's in
love
the
this.
process. So yeah.
This will transport you to the place that's beyond worry. There is no worry when you're in ecstasy or some form of collaboration, cooperation, inspiration, empowerment, nurturing, whether it's with a pen, your word, a song, a movement,
Mm,
a sketch, a piece of clothing, a movie. All of this lifts you to a dimension you don't have to look back. The worry is going to feel like a thing of the past. It's an
mm,
old habit. Thank you for sharing. I don't need you anymore. I have other friends now.
mm. Yeah,
My other
it's an old
friends
habit.
include curiosity, wonder, willingness to explore, eh, to breathe in ways I haven't breathed, to walk down the street in ways I've never walked down the street, to drive down a
Mm,
different path to work, to speak
yeah.
to someone in a different way, to have my dessert before my main course sometime. This
Mm.
why not? Just change it all around and have the best time.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, there was an unplanned activity that happened. I was supposed to go on this like this steam train adventure with my sister, but she called me on Saturday afternoon that she had to cancel because her baby was sick. So I thought, oh, okay, here we go. My Sunday plans are. Mwah. But then a friend of mine calls me a minute later and saying, I don't have an assistant for tonight's workshop. It's this like kind of dance workshop. I'm like, okay, well, I might as well go. So in a split second, my whole weekend plans had changed, and I helped her out with setting it up and took photos and helped her out and danced and met lovely
Is this
people.
the woman that I met through you who came to the workshop?
Yes,
I think. Yeah.
correct. Yeah, Jada. And you met her husband maybe as well. You
I
were
met her
mentioning.
husband and children. They came
Yeah.
swimming with us all afterwards.
Oh, yeah. That's it. You met her. Yeah.
She had a love life. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Send my best to her. It sounds like she's
Oh,
doing well.
she's doing well, wonderfully well. Yeah, she's got online workshops and face-to-face, like dance, tapping, um, doing everything. She's doing
I'm
really
so
well.
proud of her. I'm glad she's
Yeah, me
moved in that
too.
direction. So see this for you. See something similar for you. Not just assisting
Mm.
others, but see yourself assisting you.
Mm.
Assisting you to have that class, that painting, that production, that video.
Yeah.
You're so creative, and I know
Mm.
myself enough that when I'm creative, I'm more at home with my life. I keep coming back to that in this
Oh,
conversation.
yeah.
And I think you're very similar. Freeing
Mm.
the physical and emotional and creative stored energy in the body, everything makes more sense. You're more at peace. You don't think about anything being wrong with you because you're just
Mm.
doing whatever makes you feel right. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. That's exactly, yeah. I like creating events and bringing people together. And yeah, there'll be other workshops that I can help in. So, but then also create my own, as you say, like having my own little projects. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So what's happening in the working job market thing? I think you're getting some freedom to do what you didn't think you could do by speaking up to
Yes.
your boss.
Yeah, I did.
Congratulations.
I was so surprised. He said, yes, you can do the interior design school on your own. I'm like, wow, okay, for a whole month to try and get numbers up. So yeah, I'm still doing a little bit of the other school because I have to just keep my eye on things. But yeah, it's kind of good. Like,
What does that tell you about trusting your own
mm,
authority, your own wisdom, your own knowledge, your own willingness to speak up and say, this is what I want, and to make it happen? You're powerful. What does this teach you?
um, it doesn't hurt to speak your truth or have ideas. Something fruitful can come of it, um, and because I know that I have an asset to the company and I've been there for long enough and I can understand what the needs are, how much I can be a bit more flexible, which I didn't realize I had. And there's an event happening in a couple of weeks and I already put my hand up for that because I knew that I'd be useful. Gave my reasons why, and the GM, general manager, said, okay, you know, I'll take you on. So I'm like, yes. So this is stuff I like interacting with people and doing more of what I want. Yeah.
Know that
So,
this will happen more and more easily as you shift from the expression of what you shared a few minutes ago, which was, it's not a problem when or share what I like, or it's put it in the positive, double positive, rather than, it's not a problem to say, it's easy for me to speak about what I prefer to do and have and be, and I make it happen because I'm a powerful creator, you know?
mm.
Let me hear
Oh,
your version of that.
yeah, I see. Um, mm. Part of me has this bit of hesitancy because I'm like, sometimes my ideas don't pan out. And then I just
So what?
are attracted back.
Doesn't matter.
Mm.
Better to love and lost than not to have loved at all,
Yeah.
that expression. You'll never know whether you can reach
Mm.
that side over there or a place you've never been unless you let go of holding on to what's familiar. So what if you make a
Oh.
mistake? In art, there's no mistakes. In neurolinguistic programming, there are no mistakes. There's only feedback, lessons,
Uh-huh.
learning, gifts, teaching. There's no mistakes. You're not a
Uh-huh.
mistake. You're not doing anything wrong. You see, it keeps coming back to the same thing in our conversation.
Mm.
Because I am a powerful creator, it's safe and
Mm.
easy for me to express what I truly want and to have it manifest in my life.
Mm.
Let
I
me
think
hear
it's
you
just
say that.
by when I'm really clear about what I want and what I
Yeah,
desire,
yeah,
the answers come and the inspiration comes and I can manifest that in
that's right.
reality.
Exactly. And when I'm not clear, I practice practices like e, I, o, u, that within 5 sounds and breaths put me into the zone of receptivity. So I am speaking from a place of higher wisdom, connected to my heart, my gut feelings, my foundation, all aligned as one. I am true to myself and I speak from this place. So I create wonderful, extraordinary things as I continually put myself into the zone, practice joyful discipline, practice being in the zone. I don't have to get it right. All I need to do is practice. And then
I think
what
it's
is
the
true comes
failure.
through.
What sort of came to mind is that it's okay to fail. It's part of life. These mistakes, as you say, have all
Yeah,
these learnings. So it's just about trying, because if I hesitate and I don't do anything, then there's all this regret, and
that's
then
ridiculous.
I don't learn anything. I just
Yeah,
need to step forward,
it's okay for me to
fail.
fall and pick up again.
Mm,
That's what we do. Babies, when they start to walk, they
yeah.
fall, they pick themselves up. They start to crawl, they pick themselves up. They fall, they pick themselves up. Same
Mm,
thing in life. We
yeah.
fall, we pick ourselves up. And so what if we fall? It's part of
Mm,
sooner or later, we're not going to be even in these bodies. So the
yeah.
final fall will be the final rise or connection to becoming consciousness itself. We don't lose anything when we let go of the body. We become everything. And it's a whole different
Mm,
way of seeing it. There's nothing to lose.
mm, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Only the perception that what is transitory is real. We have that to
Hmm.
lose. The belief, the illusion that these bodies or our physical lives are going to last forever. No, yet our spiritual lives and what we've set out to create and our expression of
Mm,
truth and the gifts of our wisdom. If you don't have a child in this lifetime, I know for me, I haven't had a child in this lifetime, yet I've
mm,
become such a father of so many creative forms. I've given birth to so many creative forms, and I
mm,
feel very fatherly, and I've given this back to life. And now there's paintings everywhere, and there's processes
mm.
and songs and interactive rituals to
Yeah.
transform lives. And these are my children, and they'll always be available for people to tap into far after this body goes. I give them to
Yeah.
eternity. They don't belong to me.
That's really inspirational, because I was thinking as well, I'm not going to be having children, probably not, but what
That's why
other
I said that.
projects can I create, to pass on? And, I thought about you with you wrote a book, you've got the paintings, you've got the beautiful cloths that you make with the Balinese, like the paintings and
The
things. And it's
batiks,
like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh, that's something like, what's my next project? What can I inspire other people with?
Exactly.
And
What can
yeah,
I give birth to next? I
yeah.
remember I was giving a presentation coaching session to a gay woman in New York City about 20 years ago. It was the early 2005, 2004. And
Mm,
this woman was coming for coaching, and
mm,
she was a speaker. She was a public speaker. And one of the things she was to speak about was how I have no interest in having a child, yet I have great interest in giving birth to projects, to
mm.
beautiful things in this life that I can pass on,
Aw,
nurture, and have them have a life of their own. And it was a profound
aw.
realization for her to turn that around, particularly as a woman, that you have the choice and you don't have to do what women have done to fit in.
Yeah,
No, you do it in your own way, give birth in your own way, and feel prosper with that, feel wonderful
yeah,
with that.
that's right. And there's a place for really good aunties, like, if you can be called at a whim of like, oh, please look after my child. My sister might call me, and it's like I'm there in a minute. Like that still has a good place. I'm still worthy, but that's someone else's, child. So I know what you
Well,
mean,
that's
like
fine.
having your own
In a way,
project
it
too.
frees you because you don't
Yeah,
have the 24/7 obligation, responsibility, or even possibly burden of being
mm,
distracted from what thrills you as a soul. And, I chose that in
mm,
this lifetime too. I had a number of women that I made pregnant in this life. And every time I said, I'm not ready. This isn't right. I don't know
yeah,
you, or I'm ready not to do this. So 4 or 5 abortions, over,
yeah,
for 4 or 5 decades. And I'm glad for it because even though I would have been a great daddy,
yeah,
I've chosen a different path, and it's been a life of personal freedom, and it's a life of being absolutely independent and free-spirited. And I probably more than anyone I know, actually, or most
yeah,
people that I know, I don't have
yeah,
those obligations or responsibilities. And it's been a sacrifice on one hand, and yet on the other hand, I
mm,
chose this and I
mm,
embody this. And now at age 72, I'm quite young for that, age. I celebrate being giving birth to the child in me and to all beings, the magical child that has been suppressed, that has been squashed, that has been wounded. So that's been my choice, to give birth to that, to offer that to humanity. And
Mm,
everybody's got their own version. And so you're so creative. And I
mm,
see this is your path too, that you are here to create and give birth to all kinds of forms of expression that fill your soul and give
mm,
you a feeling of I'm fulfilling my destiny in your life.
mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me in our session today what you have appreciated the most. Obviously, you're going to get the transcript, the video link, which never expires here on Fathom,
Yes.
and also the summary, which is always so inspiring. However, they come up with the intelligence of what we talk about. It's so cool. What has you benefited from the most, and what's your action plan between now and when we speak in a couple of weeks?
I really liked having that conversation with the mind, the body, and I guess that bit of diffusion of like, these are my thoughts and this is my body, and how I can create a new relationship. And the whole habit of worry. It's so great to look at it as a habit, because I know that looking at it as a habit means I can change it. If it's set in stone, it's like I am a warrior. That means I embody it and identify with it. But to just think of it as, oh, it's just a thought that I can, you know, sort of dismiss, as you were saying. I think that's important, because that feeds into the anxiety of needing authority to help me, needing the protection all the time from everyone. And I feel like a leech, whereas that doesn't empower me, that makes me feel weaker. So it doesn't really serve me. Um, how can I grow from that, or self-soothe, or just trust my body and not listen to the mind, the critical, and just what concrete actions can I do to make myself feel good? And that's through the creative arts and through, having a strong purpose as well, will sort of not make me think too much in all the negative parts of me, but also celebrating the good parts, and also the bad parts, celebrating that too. Because then
Yeah,
they're
it's all
also
part
the
of it, the dark and
vulnerabilities.
the light. It's all part of it.
Mm.
And to have and to trust your physical practices, your movement
Oh, yeah.
practices that take
Mm.
you from being in your head
Ah,
to
yes.
connecting with your heart, your gut feelings, and your foundation. And that's
Mm.
through practices that are emotive, that are involving sound, breath, perhaps some form of drawing or sketching or writing or putting something into a
Mm.
recording device, and all of this you can take to another level. You're
Mm.
so creative, and I celebrate in your embodying the fullness, yes, the fullness of your being.
And that's why I love playing
Exactly.
with my nephew, because we draw together, we play together. It's like the day goes by and I feel like I'm just in a higher spirit, It's
What are you talking about?
when I'm playing with my nephew, like
Oh,
we
your
do a lot
nephew.
of arts and crafts, and there's a lot of
Yeah,
he's a little kid, boy, 3 years old, so we're just running around. We're fully in the body, completely in the body. It's just forget how I'm thinking. So
you love
just
it.
need to
And
embody
your
that. Yeah.
thinking is more high-minded as a result, actually. One of the
Right, right.
exercises for you to practice between now and our next session is, what voice of wisdom does my body say right now about what's going on? What voice of wisdom does my
Mm,
heart say?
okay.
Voice of wisdom does my higher self say? So you can have
Um,
conversations about these different elements of you that are commenting on you being the best version of yourself that you can be, even if you're not. The
mm,
sense of accepting yourself as you truly are and as you truly are not is a big part of giving yourself what otherwise you would expect or want others to give you. That attention
mm,
coming from within is so much more heartening. If someone else gives you attention,
mm.
you're hungry for their attention, and you start feeling dependent on their attention.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a crippling, crippling thing. And so I give
Mm,
myself the attention that I've been seeking from others. I inspire, I empower, and I nurture myself every moment I act. I'm conscious, and you don't do it every second like you're in a record, but that's to me the answer. You keep returning to practices that build your energy, inspire your energy, nurture your energy, and then boom, suddenly you're thinking very clearly, and you're doing something that's magnificent because you come from that inspiration. You embody that
mm.
inspiration.